Aemon will soon fly to join Cole in the Riverlands. If you come then to King's Landing, I will see to it that our guards throw down their arms. We will open the gates. We will shed no blood. You will enter as a conqueror.
In this video, I'm going to break down the season 2 finale and will discuss Green's side of details like an overview of the Trident with Harrenhal in the background, the letters with Tyland, the Sigil of the Triarchy, etc. So stay tuned for that. Greetings Throne Watchers, Season 2 is finally over, but with a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms series coming out next year, there is a lot for us to talk about. Since the breakdown of the Season 2 finale was getting too long, I decided to divide it in two parts, the greens and the blacks. In the next video, I'll discuss details like the watchtower on the Isle of Faces, Daemon's vision, a look at the Trident in front of Harrenhal and Caraxes' location when Rhaenyra is flying above Harrenhal, etc. I know some of these details aren't too important, at least in terms of the plot, but I still thought there were some cool details and I wanted to point them out. Who knows, we might get to see more on these details in the next two seasons. Anyway, let's begin. Once again, there were changes in the opening credits, so we'll start from there. The first change we see is a different angle of Sunfire and Meleys with dead bodies lying around, and just like with everything else in this tapestry, this is also surrounded by the flames on both sides. Then we see Prince Jaren's dragon Tusarian facing another dragon, who I think is Syrax. For a moment, its size made me think it was Vermithor, but the color and look matches Syrax more, and Syrax leading the dragons makes more sense to me than Vermithor. So I think Tusarian will fight a dragon in season 3, which could either be Syrax or Vermithor. I think it could be Syrax. Which dragon do you think it is? As you can see here, right behind Syrax, there are 6 other dragons, making it 7 dragons that Rhaenyra has. I think these dragons are Sea Smoke, Caraxes, Vermithor, Moondancer, Silverwing and Vermax. Do you agree with the dragons I've marked here? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And right after these dragons, we see the Dragonstone Castle. I think it's implying that Rhaenyra's dragons are flying off to war from Dragonstone. And then the castle leads to the Iron Throne, which I think implies that Rhaenyra will follow Alicent's instructions and will eventually reach King's Landing in season 3. But I will discuss season 3 in my House of the Dragons season 3 predictions video. Now let's take a look at what happened with the Greens. The episode begins with Tyland Lannister meeting with the Triarchy. In this shot, you can see that Tyland has 3 letters in front of him along with something golden, which I think could be a cup. I think these might be letters with the crown seal to show as proof that it's a letter from the Prince Regent Aemon, and the other letters might be some papers on their deal. By the way, I loved the little golden lion head pins on Tyland's shoulders. Both brothers love to show off their lineage, don't they? Because not only Tyland's twin brother Jason has a giant lion's head on his horse's chanfron, but he is literally carrying around real lions in cages with his troops. Also, in the shot where Jason Lannister and Humphrey Lefford are marching with their armies, you can see the Trident in the distance and Harrenhal behind it. Speaking of the Trident, when Rhaenyra flies above the Riverlands army, you can see the Trident pass in front of Harrenhal. But I'll discuss this scene later. And if you don't remember, Trident is the same river where Joffrey fought with Arya and Mycah, and Arya threw his sword into the Trident in Game of Thrones season 1. So if you look at the map here, and judging by the angle of Harrenhal, I think the river in front of Jason Lannister is the Red Fork. We know they have started marching from the Golden Tooth, which is House Lefford's seat, and are probably heading to Harrenhal. Anyway, Tyland Lannister meets Admiral Sharaku Lohar, and I loved how the first name she calls him by is Lord Tywin, among many other wrong names. She asks Tyland to prove he is worthy of her support by fighting her. At the very beginning of this episode, we saw a monkey enter the room where Tyland was sitting through a canopy. We see the outside outside of this canopy in the scene where Tyland is fighting with Sharako Lohar. In the background, you can see two canopy entrances. So Tyland Lannister was sitting inside that chamber in the earlier scene. I also loved how they have people moving about in the background, which makes it way more realistic in my opinion. So as you can see here, there are two people walking from the castle towards their fight. And in the next frame, you can see these two people have reached the crowd. And in front of the castle's main gate, you can see 6 red and orange colors, which I think are either guards or flags. But it's too blurry to say for sure. What do you think these colors are? Guards or the flags? Tyland manages to hit Sharako and convinces her to make a deal with him. So we see the Triarchy sailing towards Westeros. I've discussed the sigil on their sail in my trailer breakdown video, but I couldn't figure out exactly what their sigil was earlier. But now that I zoomed in on their sigil, I noticed it was a quartered sigil with a fist in their first and fourth and a skull in their second and third segments, even though the skulls look a little bit different from each other and their border is made from an octopus-like creature with less than 8 tentacles. It kind of looks like a kraken, but I'm not sure. Which creature do you think it is? In Aegon's chambers, we see a black or maybe a green 3-headed dragon on yellow carpet, which I think was a really weird choice, as Aegon's sigil is a golden 3-headed dragon on a field of green. So what do you think is going on with this carpet? I've noticed this carpet in one of my previous episodes as well. Larys convinces Aegon to flee with him by giving him many great titles like Aegon the Rebuilder, Aegon the Peacemaker, etc. But I loved how the title that finally convinced him to leave is Rhaenyra's old title, The Realm's Delight. I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, huh? He also seems jealous of Rhaenyra and wants what once belonged to her. So we see Larys and Aegon sneaking out in a carriage. I already discussed this shot in my episode 8 trailer breakdown video. Cole is holding Alicent's handkerchief, and when Sir Gawain points his sword at him, you can see that all the soldiers are staring at them. Not a very subtle way for discussing such a big secret in public. When I watched this scene, I was like, is this really a good idea to discuss such a secret scene in public? Anyway, Otto Hightower has been captured by someone. I made a poll to see who everyone thinks is behind it, and most people voted for House Beesbury, closely followed by Larys Strong. Who do you think has captured Otto Hightower? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Moving on, Aemond is slowly starting to lose his mind. He thought he was invincible because the Black Dragons didn't stand a chance against Vhagar. But now, not only do they have Vermithor, who already had a scar on his face showing his battle experience, but they also have Silverwing, Sea Smoke, Cyrex, Caraxes, Vermax, Moondancer, etc. If it was 1-on-1, Vhagar could have won, but 7 against 1, not a chance. He would definitely lose, and Aemond knows it. By the way, Aemond one eye is really sharp. Back when he was chasing Silverwing, he was able to see all of these dragons on Dragonstone from such a long distance away. So Aemond retaliates by burning Sharp Point, which is House Massey's stronghold. Gormon Massey sits on Rhaenyra's council, and his daughter Elinda Massey is Rhaenyra's lady-in-waiting, and she is currently in King's Landing following Mysaria's orders. So from a strategic point, it wasn't a bad choice. But you can tell this wasn't a strategic decision. Aemond acted because he's panicking and is afraid. He's scared to the point that he even tries to force Helaena to ride with him into battle. I don't know why he didn't turn to Daeron. Aemond trying to force Helaena was the last straw for Alicent. After she went swimming in the Blackwater Rush, her head got clearer and she decided she wanted to live a quiet nameless life with Helaena and her child. So she goes to Rhaenyra and offers to hand over King's Landing to her after Aemond leaves to join Cole in the Riverlands. By the way, is it just me or does it feel like a grapes or sour kind of situation to you as well? Alicent was okay with everything until she was kicked out of the council, and it seemed like Rhaenyra will win as she had the advantage in the war now. now. Rhaenyra said she has no choice but to end the opposition and asks Alicent to make a choice. By the way, now I understand why they removed Helena having to choose between one of her kids scene from the blood and cheese incident. It was because they gave Helena's choice to Alicent instead of choosing which one of her children will live. But I think this scene would have worked better if it had taken place before Larys had asked Aegon to sneak away. Then it would have looked like Larys knew what Alicent was planning and took Aegon away to save him. When Alicent is forced to make a tough choice, she goes back to her childhood habit of chewing her nails. It was such a subtle detail, but I really loved it. Kudos to Olivia Cook for bringing back this detail. By the way, it's now official that Alicent cares most about Helena than any of her other children, as she chooses to save Helena and her child and run away with her. And then the episode ends with a montage of all the Greens and Blacks armies spread out across the 7 kingdoms. So that's what has happened with the Greens. I'll post my Blacks season 2 finale breakdown and House of the Dragon season 3 predictions videos soon. If you like this video, please hit the like button below, share the video and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. 7 blessings to you.